Increases to national insurance and income tax has been ruled out under Labour as Reeves promises a cash injection. We're going to read into this more from the Independent, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from The Independent with the headline of increases to national insurance and income tax ruled out under Labour as Reeves promises a cash injection. The Shadow Chancellor Rachel Reeves says the party wants to lower taxes for working people and a pledge for cash boost for public service. She insists her plans are fully funded. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share it across social media so others are notified of this video. So, I'm not so sure whether they can keep to this. I'm going to say on a going out on a limb and say it'd be great if they can. Obviously, I do think that Labour cannot categorically rule out any kind of tax increases at all, because if they can't, then where do they get the money from? Now we know that they're not going to tax the rich, which I think is an absolute outrage. When blatantly there's money right there on the table and they don't want to take it to invest back into public services and whatnot. We know that they're not going to do that, which is an insane thing to say the least. Probably because they're scared of the rich and the wealthy. I don't know. Maybe that's probably it. But or the Murdoch Empire, Murdoch Empire, and whatnot. But this one, obviously, on the increase of national insurance and income tax, like they have been cut quite a bit by the Conservatives. Especially national insurance, and they wanted to abolish it altogether, and they had no ambition to do so. I do think these taxes are important. At the moment, I find it very hard for Labour to say that they won't make any tax increases at all. While they are going to obviously introduce a non-dom status, that will obviously help, and they're going to be looking at other things. One of the things I feel like that Rachel Reeves and the Labour Party are doing, I kind of still sitting on the fence a lot when it comes to their spending plans and whatnot, and that they obviously are not looking to do like a big splash of cash to get things kind of going. They're kind of like, we need to stabilize things sort of thing, and it's just like what we don't want is what we've had for 14 years. Now, a lot of people have said that Labour are no different than the Conservatives, and I am very much have questions about Labour too. However, I don't want another 4-5 years of Conservatives, that is for sure. And I'm willing to take a gamble with Labour, despite all my concessions and concerns about them. And I really, really am. And if you guys who have been following me for a long time, you know how I feel about Labour. I'm not a Labour person in any way, shape or form. But I'd rather have a Labour government than a Conservative government if I have to choose. If I really have to choose between those two, that's what I'm going to choose. Because we've suffered enough from the Conservatives. But that doesn't mean that Labour should get a free pass into number 10 either, which I'm sure you will be in agreement with as well. Now, obviously, these ideas and cash boosters, they sound good. And right now, public services are in desperate need of cash injection, desperately needing cash rejection. And we know that Conservatives have cut a lot of public services from austerity, and we know that obviously with regards to a lot of funding that came from the EU, which went towards our councils and public services as well, that has gone as well, and not a lot of that has been recovered from this Conservative government and previous Conservative governments, so they've lost even more funding as a result from councils and whatnot. So that has also played a factor into it as well. So yes, a boost in public services is much needed for sure, and especially in the more poor, deprived areas. They are the ones, for me, who need this boost of injection. They need this cash and boost injection. It will make a massive difference to those areas. But whether they will keep that or not, my general consensus is that kind of like they will try they will try to sit on the fence of a lot of things, and they will say, well, when we get into power, we'll know exactly what the books and whatnot is like. And the thing is, they can kind of get away with that because the vast majority of people are more angry with the Conservatives than they are having questions or undermining factors with the Labour Party. Because more people are voting with the intention of voting on the incumbent party as opposed to the Labour Party, which many people have questions and concerns about, and rightfully so. But that doesn't mean to say that Labour will get all the votes that they need. It may be a case. It may be a tight majority. It may even be a case that they may end up in a hung parliament. Who knows? Like I've said, many people will obviously have their criticisms of the Conservatives, and rightly so. But it doesn't mean that Labour are shoo-in either. So let's read more into this, you guys. So, Labour has ruled out increasing income tax or national insurance if they were to win the election. The Shadow Chancellor Rachel Reeves says she and the Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer want to lower taxes for working people, but she would not put forward unfunded proposals. Ms Reeves said none of our plans require increasing taxes. She also said that she does not want to make public spending cuts. However, she could not give guarantees and said she would have to be a spending review if she was in charge as the Treasury. She said we want taxes on working people to be lower, and we certainly will not be increasing the rate of income tax or national insurance. That applies to all bands of income tax. We would like taxes on working people to be lower, but unlike the Conservatives, we will never make pledges that are not fully costed and fully funded. It's only by having pledges that are fully costed and fully funded that people can actually believe what you're going to say. She refused to say when Labour would increase defence spending to 2.5% of GDP as promised, but said it would happen as quickly as possible. Now, I do think defence spending at some point will have to play a factor, but it is a priority, but it is not the priority of the British public. Cost of living crisis, the environment, immigration, healthcare, whatnot. These are major more priorities than defence. But I do think defence is a priority, but it's not like, I would not say like it's one of the top 5, 6 priorities, if I'm honest. Ms Reeves earlier promised that there is not going to be a return to austerity under Labour and would boost frontline services with a down payment on the changes that we want to make. But in the end, we have to grow the economy. We have to turn around this dire economic performance, she told BBC Sunday with Laura Queensberg programme. The Shadow Chancellor said there would be an immediate injection of cash into public service for the NHS, more police and more teachers. That would be funded by ensuring those with non-dom status pay their fair share of tax and cracking down on tax avoidance, she argued. Labour would also place VAT and business rates on private schools to recruit 6,500 additional school state teachers, she said. Now, obviously, the recruiting of this target sounds very good, and it sounds like a welcome addition. The problem I have with this is that if you want to keep teachers in their place, if you want to be able to recruit them, give them a fair, decent wage, at least, first and foremost, because their pay is just not good enough. The pay on teachers is just not good enough. I'm sorry, it's not, which is why they've had strikes. And obviously, the funding for state schools, which they are planning to help deal with obviously the VAT on business rates and private schools, which will obviously, some of that money will go towards helping the state schools. Because we have lots of buildings and issues. But my concern is that I feel like that we have a lot in this country a lot of teachers probably in this country who probably will not want to come back into teaching, who may be retired and whatnot. And we're going to end up recruiting from abroad to bring in the teachers that we need to help cover this, which will upset a lot of people with regards to immigration. But the other thing is that we need an education system we need to rebuild our education system, because right now it's not in a very good place. I welcome this ambition. Whether they will meet it, obviously we'll have to wait and see. And she insists Labour will end fire and rehire, where companies sack their staff and then bring them back on worse contracts. Yes, this is a no-brainer. If anyone has a problem with this one, they can just F off out of my channel on that one. Like, it's inhumane, it's cruel, it's abhorrent, and you saw what happened to the P&G staff, P&O Ferry company, with what they did there. Absolutely abhorrent. I don't think there's any questions about that. The Unite Union had criticised Labour for excluding an outright ban on the practice, but Ms Reeves says we will not allow that to happen. And they say they're not going to allow that to happen, but obviously, as long as they will end fire and rehire all once and for all, that'll be good. But I welcome some of these things, and as part of me is just like hesitant to kind of jump on this like yay, good on Labour sort of thing, because I know how I feel, and I know how many people who are following the channel, how they feel about Labour, and rightfully or wrongfully so as well. But part of me just feels like I just feel like there needs to be some tax increases. I know it sounds harsh, but they should be taxing the rich. They should be really taxing the rich. Like, it's a no-brainer. There's a massive pot of gold right there that can go into the economy, that can go into public services, go into lots of things, just by taxing the rich. And this very possibility that people have said, oh, the wealthy might leave the UK. Well, then let them go. But I don't think they will. But I can't, at the moment, like, they're saying they're not going to increase national insurance or income tax. I'm not 100% convinced by that. Because it depends on where the economy will be and when they come into power and what they're going to do. So I'm not 100% convinced by that, because I'm not 100% convinced that they're going to keep to that promise. But maybe they will. Maybe some of you think, yeah, that will be the case, and maybe Labour will be good on the economy. But what do you guys think? What do you guys make of some of these ideas? They're ruling out our national insurance and income tax. Do you believe the Labour Party when they say they're going to do so? Do you believe their thoughts and what they're saying about these from what the Shadow Chancellor Rachel Reeves has said? Let me know your thoughts and more about this in the comments section down below. If you found this video informative, please hit the like button, greatly appreciated. Share this across social media so others are notified of this video, and subscribe, because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me in the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or join me on Rumble, Patreon, or Facebook for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope to catch you all very, very soon.